In a world obsessed with noise, the loudest voice rarely wins. Every platform screams for attention. People talk to be heard, not to be understood. But here's the paradox. The ones who talk less often control the room. The real power? It's not in constant chatter, it's in strategic silence. Think about it. How often have you given away too much, too fast? Tried to fill the awkward pauses just to feel in control? Said things you didn't mean just to avoid silence? Meanwhile, the real players, the ones who hold influence, respect, and mystery, they don't rush to speak. They observe, they calculate, they choose their words like a sniper picks their target. And when they speak, people lean in. Why? Because their silence built the tension first. This isn't about being quiet or introverted. This is about using silence as a weapon, as a mask, as a mirror, as a test. Whether you want to dominate a negotiation, expose a liar, or make someone squirm in their own words, silence is your secret tool. So forget what they told you about speaking up all the time. If you want real control, it's time to shut up strategically. This is the power of silence. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to use it to outsmart, outmaneuver, and outclass just about anyone. Silence isn't neutral. It's not just the absence of words, it's pressure. And most people can't handle pressure. The second there's a pause in a conversation, what happens? They squirm, they laugh nervously, they start over-explaining. Why? Because silence feels like judgment. It feels like exposure. It feels like something's wrong. Here's the truth. Humans are wired to fill the gap. Our brains hate uncertainty. So when you go quiet, especially in the middle of tension, the other person's brain lights up with one question. What are they thinking? And that right there is your power. Because now they're off balance. They're narrating the silence with their own insecurities. You're not doing anything. You're just sitting in the pocket, calm, and they're spiraling. This is why silence works like a weapon in negotiations, arguments, and high-stakes conversations. It creates a void, and in that void, the other person often panics and reveals more than they should just to make the tension stop. They apologize too fast, they confess too much, they say what they really think, or they overcommit trying to please you. That's not manipulation, that's strategy. Silence makes people show their hand. And if you can learn to hold your nerve, to sit in that discomfort while everyone else flinches, you win every time. So next time someone tries to bait you into reacting, don't play the game. Just pause. Let the silence do the heavy lifting. Watch them crumble while you say absolutely nothing. Ever notice how the most powerful people in the room usually talk the least? That's not an accident. That's design. Because here's the brutal truth. The more you talk, the more you reveal. And the more you reveal, the more control you give up. Loud people, they're trying to convince you. Quiet people, they already believe themselves. Silence isn't just absence of noise, it's presence, it's weight. When someone speaks with intention, with pause, with control, everyone listens. But when someone talks just to fill the air, they start to sound insecure, desperate, weak. Think about it. When a boss walks into a room and says nothing, just scans the space, everyone tenses up. Why? Because their silence carries authority. It says, I don't need your approval. It says, I'll speak when there's something worth saying. That kind of energy can't be faked. Silence also forces people to lean in, literally. In a loud room, someone who lowers their voice or even pauses creates more impact than someone shouting. That's psychological. People are drawn to mystery, to confidence, to people who don't overshare. And here's the kicker. When you speak less, your words hit harder. They sound deliberate, thought out, dangerous even, because people wonder what else you're not saying. And that makes them respect you, fear you, or both. So if you want to look powerful, stop trying so hard to sound powerful. Just be still. Be composed. Be comfortable saying nothing. That's the real flex. Silence is not passive. It's not retreat. It's a weapon. And the second you stop talking, people start exposing themselves. Here's why. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. It feels awkward, like something's wrong. So what do? They rush to fill the gap with words, with the justifications, with nervous rambling, and that's when their mask slips. In an argument, say nothing. Watch how fast they unravel. The insecure one will over-explain, try to bait you, beg for a reaction. They'll say things like, "Don't you have anything to say?" Yeah, that's the point. Your silence is driving them crazy. Because silence demands self-reflection. It forces the other person to sit with their own thoughts, their own guilt, their own contradictions. And trust me, most people don't want to do that. They want noise, distraction, a chance to deflect. When you take that away, they start crumbling. It's the same in negotiations. You ask a question, then shut up. Don't fill the space. Don't rescue them from the discomfort. Wait, and they'll tell you more than they planned to. Sometimes they'll even offer a better deal, just to escape the silence. Silence turns the tables. Suddenly, they're exposed, they're guessing, they're reacting. And you're in control, not by overpowering, but by refusing to play their game. So if you want to know who someone really is, don't argue with them. Don't push. Just be quiet. Watch. Sooner or later, they'll tell you everything. You know who's easy to manipulate? The ones who can't shut up. The ones who spill everything, their dreams, their insecurities, their next 10 moves in the first 5 minutes. You don't need to dig. They just hand it to you, wrapped in nervous laughter and over-explaining. And here's the truth. The more someone talks, the more power they leak. Talkers think they're being smart, strategic, charismatic even. But what they don't realize is every word gives away a piece of their map. You learn what they want, what they fear, where they've failed, and now you can play them like a game. This is why real power players listen. They stay quiet and let others expose themselves, because the moment someone shows their hand, it's over. You can steer the whole interaction with just a few well-placed words. No force, no drama, just surgical precision. And here's the best part. Talkers crave validation. Silence freaks them out. They'll keep talking just to get a nod, a smile, any sign you're still with them. And in that desperation, they confess everything. So if you want control, shut up. Let them ramble. Let them give you the blueprint. And when the time comes, move with precision. One word from you can undo an entire paragraph from them. Remember, the loudest one in the room is never the one holding the strings. It's the one sitting back, watching, calculating, and saying just enough to end the game. Here's a secret no one tells you. The person who speaks last in any conversation holds the ultimate power. Think about it. When everyone rushes to blurt out their thoughts, opinions, and arguments, the last speaker gets the final say, the closing move. They have the advantage of hearing all the chaos before dropping their truth bomb. Speaking last lets you shape the narrative. You get to address every point, twist every argument, and seal the deal. It's like having the final word in a fight, except it's way smarter, smoother, and more controlled. But here's the catch. It takes patience. Real power players don't jump in just to hear themselves talk. They wait, they listen, they analyze. And when the moment is right, they strike. Waiting to speak means you're not reacting. You're controlling the tempo. You dictate the flow, force others to reveal their cards, and then drop your move when it counts the most. So next time you're in a meeting, argument, or even a casual chat, resist the urge to speak first. Hold back. Watch. Let others exhaust themselves trying to convince you, because when you finally speak, and you will speak, it's not just words. It's a power move. It's the final chess piece sliding into place, checkmating the board. Now remember, the last word isn't just an end. It's a statement, a command. And in that moment, you're not just part of the conversation. You own it. Here's the bottom line. Communication isn't just about talking, it's about winning. Not by shouting louder or faster, but by mastering the game behind every word, every pause, every glance. It's about understanding that the real power isn't in how much noise you make, but in how strategic you are with your voice. The real winners don't feel the need to jump in first or fill every silence. They don't rush to be heard. They take their time. They watch. They listen. They calculate. Then, when the moment is right, they strike with purpose, precision, and undeniable power. This skill goes far beyond just winning arguments or sounding smart in conversations. It's about how you show up in life, how you claim your space without apology, how you set your boundaries so firmly that no one dares cross them, how you make sure your voice matters, not because you demand attention, but because you earn respect. Most people waste energy trying to dominate conversations, trying to be louder, faster, or more aggressive. But that's a rookie mistake. The real mastery is knowing when to speak, and more importantly, when to hold back. When you hold your tongue, you're not weak, you're powerful. You're creating space for control, for influence, for respect. So the next time you feel the itch to interrupt, to speak over someone, or to rush in with your opinion, pause. Take a breath. Think bigger. Play the long game. Because here's the truth. The smartest move in any conversation isn't saying the most. It's saying the right thing at the right time with the right impact. The kind of impact that makes people lean in, listen up, and remember what you said long after you've left the room. Own your words. Own your silence. Own the conversation. And when you do that, you don't just win a talk. You take control of your life. You become the person who isn't just heard, but respected. Not just followed, but feared in the best way. For your clarity, your strength, and your undeniable presence. That's the power of mastering the art of conversation, and that power, it's yours for the taking.